Hi, welcome to Moonlit Fly Fishing, fly tying night tonight. Tonight we're going to be tying up a Balloon Caddis Variation. We're going to tie this on a check hook, nymph hook. It's got that curvature, so the bottom it's going to sit right down into the water column. Very, very effective. We're going to tie this in an olive with the HiVis indicator head on it. So with that, we want to make sure and invite you. Make sure you leave a comment with what color of caddis you like to tie and fish in your local waters. And with that, we'll go ahead and see you on the next one. The hook that we're using today is the Moonlit Premium Tiemco ML211 in a size 14. Tie this anywhere from a 12 to 16. We're going to start our thread roughly about 3/4 of the hook shank or 2 hook eyes behind the hook eye there. We'll use the tag end to wrap nice even wraps of our biot classic wax pale olive thread from Semperfli. And we're going to wrap this roughly about 1/3 to just about a halfway down that bend. And this is because we're on that curved hook here. The hook shank goes down that bend just a little bit. We'll trim out our tag end with the razor blade. Now I'm going to take a wild barred turkey biot from Magpie. I'll moisten that up and make sure I see where my ridge is. The ridge I want tied on the bottom. And I do that so that when I wrap this, that it wraps the ridge towards the back. Now we're just going to take our thread with nice even touching wraps to secure down that tip of the biot all the way up to where we started. Now we're just going to go back and we're going to break this down into either thirds or fourths depending on how much you want to taper this body. So you're going to go back and then you're going to go forward again all the way up to the front. And this is where we're building up our taper to the body. Now we'll go back again. And we're breaking this into thirds. We'll go back 2/3, forward, back a half, and then forward, back a third, and then forward, where we'll half hitch this off. You can see I've made sure I've not crowded too far up into that last bit there so that I can build my head and thorax. Now I'm going to take my Loon ergonomical hackle pliers. I'm going to use the rotary feature to begin wrapping this biot forward, creating nice, smooth, even tapered segmentations. I want to tie this off with the biot on top so that I can cover any loose ends and clean it up a little bit easier. So once I've gone over the back side, I'll just kind of crisscross this a couple times. And then I'll change and invert that up. I'm going to set that biot off to the side. Now I'm just going to set my thread off to my bobbin rest. And this is so I don't cut my thread. I'll take my razor blade and I just want to kind of snip out that biot. The razor blade's going to give me a cleaner cut with less bulk to cover up. Make sure you keep your thread tight when you pull it off there. Now I'm just going to finish tightening and securing that down. I'm going to take a little bit of Loctite Super Glue here and put it on that front little portion there. And this is just going to help secure and hold in that foam that we're going to tie in for the head. So you can see I've got a nice little tip cut out on that to measure about the length that I'm going to tie it in on. So I'll secure that down. And you can see we're just going to cover up all of that tip of that foam, and this just helps create less bulk by creating that taper. So we want to make sure we get this wrapped all the way up to the eye of the hook. So we're just kind of stretching the foam a little bit to make sure we get up there. I'm going to trim out this foam so it's easier to work and manage now. Here I'm going to take some Predator fibers in Caddis Tan, and I've got a nice small bunch of that. We'll go back to our tie-in point for the thorax, and I'll just loose wrap, and I'm just going to go over the top some loose wraps as I go back to the front. Then I'll pull that wing material back over so that I can secure that down. And this is going to make sure that I don't lose any of those materials when a fish takes and bites. We'll trim these wings off just past the bend of the hook there. Getting really close to being done, so we'll take some pine squirrel dubbing in a pale olive, and we're just going to put a small amount on here. We don't need a whole lot, but we want to create a nice buggy thorax to this caddis pattern, something that caddises are known for. So once we've got that, we'll take our rotary feature and we'll just wrap this nice and even on there. You can see that the top's got a little bit of a space, but the bottom does not, and we're going to cover that top up anyways. So we'll pull our head back to create our little balloon head. I'm going to take some super glue and just put a few dabs of glue on that thread. With 2 or 3 wraps, I'm going to secure that and seat that thread in. Take my whip finish tool and do a 2 or 3 turn whip finish. That glue is going to help seat this knot in and make it a little bit more durable as well. Trim that out with my razor blade. Now I'll trim out my case there of foam after I take and brush out that dubbing just to give it a little bit more of a buggy look there. You can see the fibers and guard hairs make a nice look for this caddis here. So now we'll trim out the wings, and I'm just going to trim that down, or the wing case, I'll trim that down, and this is all personal preference. And then once I've trimmed it down, I'll take and angle it at an angle on both so that I have an angled tip for this over wing here on the balloon. And there you have a Balloon Caddis HiVis Olive. Thank you for watching.